Okay, so for this question, and we have a following context like the PQ is of height 7 meters, position at 3 meters above the ground. The inclined seating STUVW. This is actually like like those grandstand or the stadium seats or cinema seats where you have from the lower seat all the way to the higher seat. Has horizontal length of SV equals to 12 and a height of 4 meters. The horizontal seating between the screen and the sitting area is 3.5. So this is like the cinema seats and the screen is on top here over PQ. M and N are two seats in the sitting area with a distance of 1 meter apart vertically. Yeah? T and U are vertically above M and N, vertically below M and N respectively. Now T is the midpoint of SV and U is a midpoint of TV, and the angle PQN is 90 degrees. So first, we have to calculate the distance RU. Now, if we look at how RU is formed, RU is basically RS plus SU lah. Okay. Now, given that T is the midpoint of SV, right? It will also tell you that 1 ST would be equals to 6 meters, right? Because it is the midpoint of SV. So this is 6 meters. At the same time, U is the midpoint of TV. So this is also 6 meters. And TU will be half of 6 meters. So it also tells you that TU will be equals to 3 meters. Since because this TU is half of the midpoint of TV. Right? So from here, right, if I want to calculate RU will just be RS plus ST plus TU, which would be 3.5 added to 6 added to 3. That will give you a total of 12.5 meters. Okay, so this is basically by reading the question very carefully. In case you missed it, this is very useful in order to solve your part 1. So if you are stuck at part 1, probably that's one of the things that you may have missed out in the question. Now part 2, we have to find the angle of elevation of P from N. So let's look at, a triangle here. P from N. Since P from N, we definitely will be observing this triangle here. And the angle that we're interested in is probably this one, right? P from N. So if we observe this triangle, we know that there's a QN, which will come in handy. And this QN is the same as RU. Right, so note that QN is the same as RU, which is 12.5 meters. So if we were to observe this triangle here, which is P, Q, N, this is 7 meters, and this is 12.5 meters, then to find this angle is not difficult, right? Just use Stochastic, and angle PNQ would just be tangent inverse of opposite over adjacent, which gives us the answer to be 29.2488 degrees to 3dp, 4dp. So it's good to have it 5 just in case. And rounding off to 1 decimal place, we have 29.2 degrees. So that's the angle of elevation of P from N. So the angle of elevation of P from N would turn out to be 29.2 degrees. Now for a better movie experience, it is recommended that the angle of elevation of the top of the screen from the viewer should not be more than 35 degrees, meaning that this angle here by right should not be more than 35, whether I'm from seat M or seat N. So Ben bought a ticket for seat M. This is where he's sitting. He claims that he has a better seat than N, as the middle row of the sitting area always offers the best view. Alright, now assuming that the viewer's height is negligible, so we don't need to count the viewer's height, just take it as this is a 0.0 meter where they're sitting. Justify with calculations whether N or Ben has a better seat. So what they are really asking you is, they ask you to consider maybe the red and the gray triangle and to find or calculate this blue angle and the red angle. Which one gives you a better angle? So of course, with both are ideally not more than 35 degrees, then of course both are ideal seats. But if one of them is more than 35, then that's the one we will reject. So we have found the red angle earlier on, which is PNQ, and we know that this is approximately 29.2 degrees. Right, so let's look at the red triangle. Let's just call this X, for example. Let's call this X. Okay, so this PX is none other than 8 meter. Whereas if I look at XM would be RS plus SM, which is 3.5 plus 6. So if we look at this triangle here, which is PXM, okay, so I define a new point X. This would be 8 meters, and this would be 9.5. How do I get 9.5? Because RSST is the same, RT is the same as XM. Alright, so remember RT here is the same as XM, and RT is the same as 3.5 meters plus 6, which gives me 9.5. Alright, so that's why I can say that this length here is 9.5. And this length here is 8 meters. Now let's look at this angle, PMX. Now angle PMX would just be tangent inverse 8 over 9.5, opposite over adjacent, which gives us the number to be about 40.1009 degrees. And you can see that this angle is beyond or above more than 35 degrees, which tells you that this seat here is not ideal because it's more than 35, right? And so it's not a good better movie experience lah. So justify your calculations whether N or band has a better seat. Well, I mean, considering that this represents band, which is at seat M, and this represents N, which is at seat N, you can see that N has a better seat. Okay, as the reason is because from where band is, right, okay, as the angle of elevation of P from N is more than the recommended 35 degrees. Okay,